Brought to you by JEGS.
Hi, I'm Mike Norcia from Ram Clutches. This is the second in our two-part series describing the 4 levels of single-disc clutch sets that Ram offers. And when you're selecting your clutch system, the horsepower rating or horsepower level is really just the starting point. Ratings are based on street-driven cars, on street tires with stock gearing. And when you do things to your car or add things to your car that are going to put an additional load on the clutch system, these are factors we need to consider. First is going to be the use of the vehicle. Is this primarily a street-driven vehicle, or is this going to see a lot of time at the racetrack? If you're going to the racetrack with the car, you can expect you're going to load that clutch system harder. Second is the gearing of the vehicle. If you run a gear ratio that is a higher gear ratio, lower numerically, that's going to load the system harder. For instance, a 410 rear gear is going to be a lot easier on the clutch system than a 355 rear gear would be. Tire selection, this is another big factor. If you're running a bigger tire, a drag radial, a slick on the car is now going to hook. It's not going to tend to spin the tire so much, so it's going to load that clutch system harder. Power adders, adding nitrous, blowers, turbos. This puts an instant hit and an instant load on the clutch system that's going to be pretty aggressive. So how do I select a clutch system for my application? Well, the first thing to do is you want to select a system that's going to be rated higher than what your current power level or what your anticipated power level is going to be down the road. Select too low of a clutch level and you're going to see premature wear in the clutch and you're not going to be happy with the results at that point. So pick something a little bit higher than you think you're going to need. Larger diameter clutches, more aggressive friction materials, that's something with a higher coefficient of friction or metallics are going to tend to address that load better, as well as dual disc clutches. Now, if you plan to spend more time at the racetrack than you do on the street, you might be better off to go ahead and select a dual disc right off the bat. This is going to address the higher torque loads, dissipate heat better, and give you an overall better life when you are racing that car. So some common sense items to consider when you do take your car to the racetrack. Number one, make sure you turn the traction control off. This is a major mistake that we see all the time. This puts an extreme load on the clutch system. You want to make sure you got that switched off. Second, this is common sense, but make sure you got the car in low gear. I know that sounds funny. You might be laughing right now, but we know plenty of people that have done that. Professional racers will leave the car in a second gear or third gear and take off. This is putting extreme load on the clutch when that occurs. The burnout. You want to be extremely careful when doing your burnout. Make sure the car is in the water. That's why they call it a water burnout. When you're coming out of the water, you feel a tire start to grab, you want to make sure that you clutch in at that point so that you don't put that big load on the drivetrain as the tires hit coming out of the water. The Ram Level 1 clutch sets are our OEM stock replacements. Now, a stock replacement set is just that. Stock replacement for daily driven, non-modified vehicles. These are not heavy duty, these are designed for your basic grocery getter, everyday driver car. Stock set's going to feature an OEM quality pressure plate, replacement clutch disc with either a standard or a helix hub, depending on what came in the vehicle, a release bearing in most cases, and also the clutch alignment tool so you can get that clutch disc aligned properly and get the transmission in without causing any damage. Now, Ram Level 2 clutch sets are the HDX sets. An HDX set is going to feature a higher clamp pressure plate with increased holding capacity. The pressure plates are going to include an explosion-resistant ring, which is going to give you added safety. Clutch discs are going to feature, in most cases, a stronger 8-spring center hub with a premium organic facing material. There's a few late model Mustang applications that use a helix hub disc. We feel this is superior for those, so we do use those in that application. These sets are going to include the pressure plate, the clutch disc, the release bearing in most cases, and also the alignment tool. Now, HDX clutch sets are the perfect choice for upgrades, mild bolt-on cars, restorations, any application up to about 450 horsepower where you want to have a smooth driving clutch system. Now, if you race your car or you run a sticky tire on it and you're up near that upper level rating of the level 2 clutch, you probably want to consider moving on up to the power grip, which we'll cover in our next series. Ram's level 3 clutch sets are our power grip sets. Now, power grip sets can include a higher capacity, increased clamp load pressure plate, and it's also going to have an SFI rated explosion resistant pressure ring. The clutch disc uses our 8-spring hub with a urethane encapsulated spring for extra strength and rigidity in that center section. And this is an area a lot of our competitors overlook. The friction material is organic, steel backed on the flywheel side, and we use our 900 series metallic on the pressure plate side. These sets include the pressure plate, the clutch disc, in most cases the release bearing, and also the alignment tool. A power grip clutch set is a great choice for mild street strip cars up to about 550 horsepower. It provides a real nice balance of drivability and holding power without a bunch of chatter on takeoff. Now, if you happen to race your car a lot, or again, if you're running a sticky tire on there, then you may want to consider stepping up to the next power level. Ram Level 4 clutch sets are our Power Grip HD sets. Now, Power Grip HD set is going to feature that same high clamp pressure plate with the increased holding capacity and the explosion resistant ring. And now it's going to have a clutch disc that's going to feature a metallic friction material on both sides of the clutch disc. Again, it utilizes that 8-spring hub with the urethane encapsulated spring. The set here is going to include the pressure plate, the clutch disc, the release bearing in most cases, and the alignment tool. Power Grip HD clutch sets are the top of the line single disc sets for cars up to about 650 horsepower. It's going to be the most aggressive of our single disc units, and you may have a little chatter on takeoff depending on how your car is geared. Now, if you have bigger power, or you're looking for a real smooth engagement, this is the point where you may want to consider stepping up and using one of our dual disc systems. That's going to give you a very nice smooth engagement and be able to hold that power.
Brought to you by JEGS Fast Delivery, your source for high performance and quality, delivering performance since 1960. JEGS.com